Welcome to our presentation of the technology plan for the British International School of Budapest. This is a recording of slides and presentation made to parents in June 2014, and it summarises what we've achieved so far this year and our plans for next year. There are several presentations in this series that you will find, and they were done by several of the teachers that have been involved in this pilot program and the tech committee. So please take a look through all of them. This is really just the introduction. So you'll find other presentations by Mr. Walter, Mrs. Marco, Mr. Brown, and also thank you to Mr. Tomaska, our technician, who's really helped with all the background work on this. So really what we want to say to start off with, I think this is really important. Although this is a technology plan, it really is not about the technology for us. Our complete focus right from the start with this has been on the learning and then how technology can support the learning that we want to achieve in the school. So you're going to hear that all the way through. This is a constant theme. It is a technology plan, but it's not about the technology. It's absolutely about the learning. So just to put this in context, at the beginning of 2013-14 academic year, we started working as a whole community on our new strategic plan, and this was designed to guide the direction of the school over the next 5 years. And parents, teachers, students, and administration were all actively involved in this in various committees and focus groups, and in the whole steering committee as well. So what we were really looking at is as you can see from this picture, the 30,000-foot view of the school, the big picture, and guiding the direction. And one of the things we questioned as we did this is, what's the purpose of our school? Why do we have schools? What are we educating our children for? And we don't mean it at a sort of superficial level, but really at a very deep level. What's the purpose of school, and why do students come to BISB? And one of the things that we realised, that literally just every part of the community, is that start off with our why is very different from schools of 50 years ago, or even just 10 years ago. The world has changed, and why children come to school and what we're educating them for is different. And also, being an international school and an independent international school, our why is very different to any state school anywhere in the world. We are not trying to educate children to form a state society. We're very different from that. And what we realise is that all students from our school actually go on to university, all of them. And the vast majority go on at some point to be leaders in some sort of field, whether it's the business world, the diplomatic world, the social, community service world, whatever that is, some part of their life, they end up being leaders. And so our realisation is that we're actually educating the world's future generation of leaders. And that's really important. And that realisation guided our strategic plan. So then we started asking, okay, so if that's real, how do we do that? What does that look like? And so if our strategic strategic plan is available to download on the website. If you look at our school website, you'll be able to download that. Please do take a look. It does give philosophically the direction, plus also the nuts and bolts of what we'll be doing. But the model for our strategic plan, after we looked at this, looks a little like this. And so the background circle, which you can see here, is really the foundation. We know that we have to create a learning environment that is modern, is constructivist in approach, that students use technology to enhance learning, and it really is a very solid learning environment. And in the middle here you can see our goal, and that is we want all of our students to perform at high levels in all areas, creative, social, academic, all of those things we want them to do really well. And as we looked at our schools, we did various analysis on the school. We identified these areas in the middle here that we need to develop to be able to achieve that. So we have a foundation, we have a goal, and we have strands in the middle that allow us to do that. And that was the foundation of our strategic plan. And very much at the core of this was this challenge that we set ourselves. And that is, how do we maintain the really high standards and examination results that we have at all levels in this school? Because our students do achieve exceptional standards, whether it's early years, Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2, Key Stage 3. Certainly our IGCSE results and our IB results are exceptionally strong. So how do we do that? And yet at the same time, how do we prepare them for this fast-changing, globally connected, technology-rich future that they're going to be graduating into? How do we do both of those? And what we're very clear on is it's no good to do one without doing the other. At the moment, we really do achieve high standards and high exam results, and we want to continue doing that. But we also have this duty to prepare our students, if they are going to be global leaders, to prepare them for the future. And so this is the process we went through for our tech plan. We started off with this Y at the top here. And please excuse me moving the slide around, and I hit the wrong button there. With this why do we have our school? Why is it different? We looked at pedagogical research, we looked at the effect of globalization on the world, and then we looked at the effect of technology. And Google Glass is fast on its way, augmented reality is fast on its way. What sort of things will that impact on the future? And then really our focus was on this part here, which is we want powerful learning. And once we decided what does that powerful learning look like, we then said, well, okay, how can technology help us do that? And when we looked at what the technology could do to help us do that, we actually realized that we could do even more powerful learning. And then when we looked at that, we went back to look at the tech possibilities. And we actually went backwards and forwards here several times before we came to this outcome, which was a technology plan. So it's all driven around the idea of powerful learning, and that's really important. And so what we realise is as we implement technology at the school, and we are running several pilot programs at the moment, is that in one level we could put technology in the students' hands, and we could replace what we're doing. We could just use Word documents instead of writing essays. But if we do that, really what we've bought is €500 pencils, and that's really not effective. If we want the technology really to enhance powerful learning, we've got to use it in different ways. So we know who can help us focus on individual learners. We know it can help us to personalise learning. We know it can help us to help the learners construct their own meaning. We know it can remove glass ceilings to a learning. We know it can empower, engage and motivate students. And we know actually it can free up a lot of lesson time. If the teacher doesn't have to keep standing at the front telling students, we can actually free up lesson time for higher orders of thinking. And this was really important. So we don't just want to replace, we want to transform what goes on in the classroom and really get to powerful learning. So for us, it's not about the technology, it's about the learners and their learning. It's about really looking at a new approach for the students' realities of the 21st century. What's the world got to look like when they graduate? We know for a fact that sitting in rows listening to a teacher is not the most powerful form of learning. It's lower orders of thinking, and it really isn't the higher orders of thinking we want to get to. So we need to look at an area where the teacher's not the focus, and technology helps us do that. It helps us to transform the learning to be individualised, personalised and powerful. And here's a quote we quite like. So that as we look for next year, here are some of the things that we're going to be doing. And I think this is quite important. Over the summer, a lot of background work is going to be going on. So we're updating the service again. We're increasing the number of Wi-Fi points, one literally for every classroom. We're increasing the bandwidth. We'll have Apple TVs and HDMI projectors in all learning areas. And that's not just all classrooms, it's all learning areas. We're going to continue with teacher and student training. We're initiating a series of parent sessions on technology and the appropriate use of technology and e-safety and how you can support your student at home. And we're also looking at appropriate use policies, because what we're very keen on here is getting the balance right. Technology is not always the best tool to use. Probably the most important thing we need to work out is when we put the technology away. There are times when it's just not appropriate, and face-to-face interaction is far more appropriate. Equally, we want our students to be outside and running around and living a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So we need policies that ensure that happens too. So there's a big, important part of this that's about balance. So quickly looking at the nuts and bolts, this is what it looks like for next year. In our early years classrooms, right from the age of 3, we are going to have iPads available for them. These will be in class sets. They won't necessarily be personalised in the early years age range. In years 1 to 6, they will be personalised. They will be one-to-one iPads. Each child will have an iPad, and they will personalise it for their own use. And it'll be used in the classroom. They'll usually be based at school, but at teacher's discretion, they may be sent home for homework, for flipped classroom work, for looking at videos, preparing for the next day. But these are purchased by the school and provided by the school because they're being based at school. In years 7 to 9, we are insisting as part of school equipment that every child has an iPad. It will be an integral part of how we work at school. These will need to be personalised, and these will need to go home with the children. So these need to be provided by families. So this is a bring your own iPad. We will register to our system. Apps will be available to download from our system. It'll be able to hand homework in, get homework graded through our system this way. It'll be a paperless system, but these it's bring your own, and the minimum requirement we're asking for is I guess the cheapest, most basic iPad, and that's a 16 gig one. If you want a more powerful one, that is completely fine, but as long as it's a 16 gig iPad, that's fine. We recommend the Mini because we found them to be far more robust. The screens, if they drop, the screens break far less readily. So that would be our recommendation. In years 10 to 13, there's no real change here. Students are already using technology. That's completely free choice. However they work and operate best, whether that's a Dell laptop, or it's a MacBook, or it's an iPad, or it's a notepad, or it's a Samsung. It really makes no difference. It's completely student-free choice, and we will make it work at school. We will register the students, and we have a Wi-Fi network where we support all platforms. So that's a summary of what we're looking for next year. Really, the big difference to parents here is if you have a child in years 7 to 9, part of the school equipment will be a minimum 16 gig iPad. And before anyone asks the question, yes, it does need to be an Apple iPad, because the way we're syncing homework and the apps is done through the Apple platform. And then just finally, we will have spare iPads, netbooks, laptops for those who need them, those people who forget them or haven't got one yet. So we will have spares that students can check out. We have organised a discount with iStyle, which is the Apple reseller in Budapest. If you quote our name, it's a 12% discount on iPads, and we'll give you more information on that. And just any iPad, if you're going to buy one of these, any Apple iPad will work, so that's not a problem. And as we roll this out, it won't be at the very beginning of September. It'll probably be at the 3rd or 4th week in September we start rolling this out and having this requirement, simply because we want to get the school year up and running before we do that. Anyway, thank you very much. Please take a look at the other videos and presentations that go along with this from Mr. Walton, from Mr. Brown, and from Mrs. Marker. Thank you.